Hello, Muslim friends of the world. The nights in New York were always busy. Streetlights reflected off puddles, creating shimmering patterns on the damp sidewalks. Anna Morrison, a young detective with an unshakable reputation, drove her patrol car through the city streets. Her neat uniform and strikingly beautiful face often caught attention, but the determined look in her eyes always sent a clear message. She wasn't here to play games. However, beneath her brave exterior lay an emptiness she couldn't quite explain. Anna felt like her life was a wheel spinning endlessly without direction. The cases she handled grew more brutal by the day, and every time she returned to her silent apartment, the loneliness grew louder. Since her mother's death 3 years ago, Anna had felt like she was adrift without an anchor. That night, an emergency call came through the radio. Vandalism reported at Al-Hikmah Mosque in Brooklyn. Proceed to the scene immediately. Anna sighed deeply, turning the steering wheel toward the location. When she arrived, the mosque's front door was covered in hateful graffiti with symbols and slurs. On the other side, a group of people patiently cleaned the vandalism. Despite being attacked with such hatred, they remained calm. "Who reported this?" Anna asked as she approached one of the men. A middle-aged man wearing a white turban stepped forward. "I did. My name is Imam Khalid." "Thank you for coming," he said, his tone gentle and devoid of anger. Anna nodded. "Did anyone see who did this?" Imam Khalid shook his head. "We didn't see anyone, but it doesn't matter. Our duty is to respond to hatred with kindness." Anna stared at him, puzzled. Usually, victims of crimes would vent their anger or demand justice. But Imam Khalid seemed peaceful, as if the graffiti didn't matter at all. "Why aren't you angry?" she asked spontaneously. Imam Khalid gave a small smile. "My anger won't fix anything, but kindness might change someone's heart." His words made Anna pause. In her line of work, she often saw how hatred bred more hatred. But here in front of her was someone who responded to it with something entirely different. As Anna inspected the scene further, she noticed a Quran on a corner shelf, narrowly spared from the vandalism. Its navy blue cover with golden embroidery caught her eye. "This book survived their graffiti," Anna said, holding it up. Imam Khalid smiled again. "Perhaps that's more than just a coincidence, don't you think?" Anna simply nodded without saying anything. After finishing her report and requesting a forensics team, Anna prepared to leave. But before she could, Imam Khalid called out to her. "Detective, if you ever feel tired or need peace, come here. Our doors are always open." His words felt strange to Anna, but she returned the gesture with a polite smile. On her way home, her thoughts kept returning to the mosque, the hateful graffiti, and the man who responded to it all with an unshakable calm. Later that night in her silent apartment, Anna gazed out the window. Rain began to fall, and in the quiet she wondered, what made someone like Imam Khalid so strong? Anna drove her patrol car through the quiet night, her mind still replaying the events at Al-Hikmah Mosque from a few days earlier. Imam Khalid's riječi o odgovaranju mržnje ljubavlju zadržavale su se u njenim mislima. However, the mountain of cases and pressures from her job left her little time to reflect deeper. That night, heavy rain poured down, and an emergency call shattered the silence. Fire reported at an apartment complex in Brooklyn. Possible victims trapped inside. All units, respond immediately. Anna responded quickly, steering her car toward the scene. When she arrived, flames were already engulfing the building, reaching high into the night sky. Panic cries of residents who had managed to escape filled the air. In the chaos, a woman wearing a hijab approached Anna, her face pale, her hands trembling. "My daughter is still inside. Please help," the woman pleaded, her voice breaking. Anna didn't hesitate. Grabbing a breathing apparatus from her patrol car, she ran into the burning building. The heat was overwhelming, and the thick smoke made it nearly impossible to see. "Is anyone here?" Anna shouted as she moved through the narrow hallways of the second floor. A faint, muffled cry reached her ears. Following the sound, she found a little girl, no older than 5, curled up in the corner of a room, clutching a worn-out stuffed toy. "Hey, sweetheart," Anna said gently, trying to mask the urgency in her voice. "I'm here to help you." The girl nodded, her wide, frightened eyes filled with tears. Anna picked her up, and shielded her with her own body as they made their way out. The smoke grew thicker, and the heat was nearly unbearable. But Anna pressed on, pushing through the suffocating air until she finally emerged from the building. Outside, the little girl's mother ran to them, sobbing hysterically as she embraced her child. She turned to Anna, her voice trembling with gratitude. "May Allah bless you. You're our hero." Anna froze for a moment. She had heard many words of thanks in her line of work, but this one felt different, deeper, more profound. A few days later, the local Muslim community held a small appreciation event for Anna at Al-Hikmah Mosque. At first, Anna was reluctant to attend, but after some encouragement from her colleagues, she agreed. The mosque was filled with warmth and gratitude. Imam Khalid gave a heartfelt speech about courage and compassion. Acts like these are manifestations of true love for humanity, as taught by all religions, especially Islam, he said. Anna felt touched, even though she didn't fully understand the meaning behind his words. When the event concluded, Imam Khalid approached her with a gift, a navy blue Quran with gold embroidery, the same one she had seen before. "Detective Anna," he said with his calm smile, "if the world ever feels chaotic, perhaps this book can offer you some answers." Anna hesitated but accepted the gift. That night, back in her quiet apartment, curiosity overcame her reservations. She opened the Quran and began to read. One verse stood out to her: "Whoever does good, whether male or female, while having faith, we will surely grant them a good life." Surah An-Nahl 97. The words felt as though they were speaking directly to her heart. Tears began to fall, unbidden. Something inside her shifted, a sense of hope that she hadn't felt in years. That night, for the first time in a long while, Anna felt like she had found a glimmer of light in the darkness. A week after rescuing the little girl from the fire, Anna felt a shift within herself. Every night she found herself reading the Quran that Imam Khalid had given her. Though she didn't fully understand everything she read, certain verses struck a chord in her heart. They brought a sense of calm, a feeling of connection to something greater. Still, Anna kept this new habit to herself, unsure of how to process it. Her next assignment, however, would bring her back to Al-Hikmah Mosque. This time, the threat was far more serious. An anonymous message had been sent to the mosque, warning of a potential attack by extremists. Anna and her team were tasked with securing the area. That evening, the mosque was full of worshippers attending the night prayer. Anna stood outside with her fellow officers, watching over the scene. Despite the looming danger, the calm expressions on the faces of the congregation puzzled her. The people continued to arrive, unshaken, as if the threat didn't exist. Why aren't they scared? Anna wondered aloud. Imam Khalid, standing near the mosque's entrance, overheard her and approached. "Fear is natural, detective," he said gently. "But for us, fear is something we entrust to the Almighty. If we let fear control us, then those who spread hatred have already won." Anna was struck by his words. In her line of work, she had seen fear consume people time and time again. But here was a community that seemed to draw strength from something far greater than themselves. The tension reached a peak when one of the officers found a suspicious package near the mosque's gate. Anna immediately took charge of the situation. After carefully inspecting the package with her team, they discovered that it was a false alarm. There were no explosives, just an empty box intended to instill fear. Once the situation calmed down, Anna entered the mosque to inform Imam Khalid that everything was safe. Inside, the prayer had just concluded, and the worshippers were quietly leaving, their expressions still serene. "Thank you, detective," Imam Khalid said as she approached. "You protected us tonight." Anna shook her head. "Honestly, I feel like I'm the one who's been protected. There's something about this place, something that makes me feel safe, even in a situation like this." Imam Khalid smiled but said nothing, letting Anna reflect on her own thoughts. That night, back in her apartment, Anna opened the Quran once more. The words felt closer, almost as though they were speaking directly to her soul. One verse in particular stood out: "Indeed, with hardship comes ease." Surah Ash-Shar 6. Anna thought about her life, the hardships, the loneliness, the overwhelming pressure of her job. For so long, she had carried these burdens alone. But now she wondered if there was a way to find peace, a way to let go of the weight she bore. Over the following weeks, Anna began visiting the mosque regularly, not as an officer, but as a seeker of truth. She spent hours talking to Imam Khalid, asking him questions about life, purpose, and faith. His answers weren't always immediate, but they were always thoughtful and left her with more to consider. Finally, on a quiet afternoon, Anna made a decision that felt both terrifying and liberating. In the presence of Imam Khalid and a few members of the congregation, she declared her Shahada, embracing Islam. She chose the name Amina, meaning trustworthy, as a reflection of her new identity. Anna's transformation into Amina wasn't just a personal journey, it became a story that inspired many. She continued her work as a detective, now with renewed purpose and a deep sense of peace. Her faith didn't make her less of an officer, it made her stronger, more compassionate, and more dedicated to justice. As she stood outside Al-Hikmah Mosque one evening, Amina looked up at the stars. For the first time in her life, she felt grounded, like she had found her place in the world. The journey wasn't easy, but the light she had found made every step worth it.